It's fantastic to be here with all of you. Not only do this festival, and frankly, this topic and conversation is so meaningful for me. In my former life, I was a long-time advocate and organizer for workers' rights, and so I'm thrilled to be on this panel with such amazing panelists. But also, this is deeply personal for me. I am a sandwich generation caregiver. I have a daughter that I'm raising, but I also have two parents with Alzheimer's who I care for. And so for me, these issues of care and everything we're going to talk about are so deeply embedded. Like, I really understand the challenges from my perspective on how hard it is to knit together the kinds of supports that my family needs to ensure that our loved ones can live and age with dignity. So I'm really thrilled to be in this conversation. To that end, I do want to provide some top-line framing to make sure we're all sort of level setting a bit about the care workforce. Every person across every socioeconomic background, every race, and every stage of life will need care at some point in their lives. Whether as an infant, when recovering from an illness, living with a disability, or as we age, care is a universal experience. As the nation, across the nation, care workers, home care aides, early educators, nurses, and direct support staff make all other work possible. Yet, they are among the lowest paid and least protected in our economy. Most caregivers have no access to paid family leave in their workplace, and many experience disruptions in work due to caregiving. Working caregivers also often feel isolated and face negative financial impacts, including taking on more debt, using up short-term savings, and leaving bills unpaid or paying bills later. Care workers are disproportionately women, people of color, and immigrants, and despite being essential, they're systematically excluded from fair labor standards, health coverage, and wage protections. And we know that the care workforce needs comprehensive policy reform. Care workers are the backbone of our economy. However, most lack basic protections that other industries take for granted. So with that, we're going to dive into some of these themes with this terrific panel. To my left here, we have Doug Moore, who is the executive director of the United Domestic Workers of America, which represents more than 140,000 in-home care providers and family care, child care providers throughout California. Yeah, Doug. I have personally learned a lot from Doug and his work. And then we have in the middle here, Elsa Monteiro is a member of the National Domestic Workers Alliance and currently a full-time caregiver for her mother. A Connecticut resident with Brazilian roots, she began her career as a home care worker supporting seniors and people with disabilities. Cheers to Elsa. And finally, we have Paloma Corona, is the owner and founder of Little Sprouts Language Immersion Preschool in Los Angeles, and an executive board member of SEIU Local 99 CCPU. And I'll let you explain. So we're going to start, I'm going to ask a question of all of you. Can you share a personal story from your life that captures what care work means to you? Would you like to start, Doug?
Sure. Before I get started, I want to correct the record. We represent over 220,000
Oh my gosh.
care providers now.
Thank you for correcting that record. That's incredible.
Board members here, so I want to make sure I correct the record.
That's great.
Okay. I was thinking about this question last night and this morning, and the most recent story I would have to tell is about my sister, who became real ill a few months ago and was in intensive care for about 6 weeks. She was in a coma, and her daughter lived in Las Vegas, and this has happened. She lives in, and she's in LA, and her daughter moved back to LA. My sister had to have a couple of her toes amputated, and then they found other issues with her, and we almost lost her. My daughter moved to LA, got an apartment, got a new job, and decided she was going to have her mom move in with her. So when I checked on her, everything was going well, and I said, "How's the new job?" She said, "I had to quit because I can't take care of mom full time and work a new job.
Yeah.
It's just too demanding." So that is what care is all about when you take care of a loved one. It's the sacrifice that you make in order to make life better for a loved one. And my responsibility as the oldest of the siblings is, how do I support my niece with her needs? Because there are things because my sister is bedridden, she can't walk. So there's other medical needs, and so my role is to support her. What are the needs so that she doesn't come out of pocket, so that what is my other support financially and whatever else there is, so that she can make sure that her mom has what she needs and gets her to her therapy and gets her to her appointments. So it's not just about my niece doing what she needs to do. It's also what other support can I lend and other family members lend so that she doesn't feel alone, that she also feels supported. So that's my story.
That's great. Thank you, Doug, for sharing that. Also, what about you?
I feel you, Doug, because I'm in that shoe. I didn't start as a home care worker. My profession was a surgical assistant for 28 years at the local hospital, and I had to change that around so that I can take care of my mom. And then I did become a home care worker. My recent story about care work is August 4th. It was a beautiful day. It was my daughter's bridal shower. We just had her wedding last week.
Oh,
in
congratulations.
St. Pete's Beach. It was beautiful. But on that day, my mother choked on watermelon. So I had to begin the procedure of Heimlich. It wasn't working. Lack of oxygen, she went to the floor. I started with the thrust. That wasn't working, and I saw life leaving her. The colors change. And I had to make a decision there that now I had to go from a thrust to CPR. And I began CPR on my mother, and not understanding if I was going to bring her back. But I did. When the paramedics arrived, my mother was breathing. And why do I tell you this story? Is because many people think that home care workers are not educated. That home care workers don't know much. They don't know what to do. But we as home care workers, we are on the same level, working together with the doctors, the nurses. The doctor's there for a period of time. The nurses are too. But the home care worker is there every single day. The care worker is the hand, the loving hand, the helping hand, and the hand that helps that patient, that client to go by every single day and work at every day as if it was a new day. And that's what care work is all about.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Elsa. And Paloma, let's hear from you.
Well, I started as an in-home childcare assistant, and then I moved my way until I became a co-director at a center. But then I got pregnant and I had my fourth baby, and it was really, really hard for me to go back to work, leaving my 4 babies at home. So I decided to open my in-home since I already had all of the experience that I needed. And then I started looking at the numbers, and the numbers were not, the math was not really mathing. It was complicated. And I started asking, and I joined the union, and I thought that it was only me. Maybe I was doing something wrong, right? But then I heard from all of my colleagues that they were going through the same. And we were working, usually most of the family childcare providers wake up between 4, 5 in the morning, and we go to sleep between 10, 11 p.m. And all day long we're doing something related to childcare. It's even sometimes we prepare the meals, we clean the house, we are drivers, we are nurses, we are all of this, we wear all of these hats, which it doesn't make sense to the pay that we receive. So I told myself that I was gonna make sure to do better and work for all of the family childcare providers to receive at least something that a livable wage, But then having a conversation with my children and my husband, I was asking my children, what do you want to be when you grow up? One of them say, I want to be a social worker. The other one say, I want to become an engineer. The other one say, Mommy, I just want to be like you.
Aww.
And that, instead of feeling proud that she is seeing all of this love and effort that I put into this profession, I was really, really scared. I didn't want my daughter to feel like all of these long work hours were not going to be worth it for her, and that she was not going to have benefits, she was not going to have health care, retirement, and yet she was only going to make between $4 to $7 an hour. Yeah. So that's when I decided to become more active as a member and make sure to fight to get not only better pay, but also recognition, because all of the family childcare providers have, some of them degrees or some type of education, but we are also educated. We're not babysitters.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm not saying that babysitters is not, I'm not saying that babysitter is not, it's not a good profession. It is, but babysitters, they do usually, most of the time they're teenagers. Now the industry is also growing, but that specific work was being used against us to make us feel less. And we're not less. We are hard workers, we're businesswomen, and also males, because there's a lot of males coming to the industry, which I'm very proud of it.
Yes.
And yes, we're here to fight for everyone, for not only for our generation, but the future generations, to leave something better for them.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Paloma. And I want to stay with you for a minute, because it's so beautiful to hear how your daughter wanting to be like you actually has fueled your energy and momentum to make change. And your story really reflects the full breadth of the care economy, right? From working as a child care assistant to becoming an assistant director in a daycare center to owning your own center to leading union negotiations. And so can you share a little bit about what your experiences have taught you about what care workers need most to be valued and supported in the work? And then in your recent labor negotiations, you negotiated breakthrough contracts for California's child care providers. What has it meant for workers' dignity and financial stability? Like, help us understand what that work has meant and how that's changed people's lives.
Well, the first contract, I was not part of the negotiations team, but the second contract, I was. This is pretty much our third contract, and I was part of 2 of them. Second contract, I was sitting down at the table with a family childcare provider. She was close to be 80 years old.
Wow.
Ms. Bernice, she was part of the negotiation teams, and she wanted to make sure to fight for retirement, because on the second contract, we did not have retirement. And she was close to be 80, and she was still working. She used a walker to go around. And I put in the story about my daughter and Ms. Berenice at the same time. I was like, I need to make sure that the industry has a change for both of the ages.
Yeah.
So being part of the negotiation team, it was very complicated because sometimes, you know, as I mentioned, being a family childcare provider, we put almost 24 hours of work, and being part of the negotiation table, it was another 24 hours a day. It was just really complicated, but you know, being part of it made me realize that there is a way that we can change. Organized and fight,
Yeah.
that is the only way that we were gonna be able to break through all of the walls that were being put against us. The second contract, we won retirement, healthcare, training fund,
Woo!
and it was a lot. But talking about the pay, you know, we were not there. The third contract, we started with no healthcare, half of the retirement, which is not retirement, whatever we have right now, it's nothing to the need of the providers.
Yeah.
However, you know, we are grateful that we have one, and we know that we need more, and that's what we are gonna keep on fighting. We were told no healthcare, I'm sorry. Retirement was gonna be cut, training, you're gonna keep it, but there's no way that we're gonna raise your wages right now. Like, there's no money, federal cuts here, cut there, no money for family childcare providers. So we said, well, we're gonna keep on fighting, and we did, and we kept our benefits, and now we are working on reaching out the new payment system that hopefully is gonna help better with the payment. But we're also being recognized as a family childcare providers. Before, I will introduce myself to someone from a different industry, and they will be like, oh, you're a babysitter. And I would be like, I'm a family childcare provider.
Good.
Great. You know, and I always feel like we are the backbone of the economy. You know, if we are not here, parents cannot go to work.
That's right.
We, unfortunately, there's not only the 9 to 5 work schedule. There's families that need daycare at 1 a.m., and here we are.
Yeah.
Families that need transportation, here we are. We're not compensated for that,
Yeah.
but still we're providing the transportation because we want to make sure that the children are going to school and coming back safe.
Yeah.
With the immigration rates and all the stuff happening, parents are in fear of going to school and being detained. So family childcare providers are stepping up and saying, here, we're gonna support you in this way. So don't, you know, we got you. So we are just wanna make sure that we are keeping on fighting and making sure that we raise up our voices all the time.
That's great. Thank you, Paloma. That's wonderful. It's great to hear about these incredible victories that have been won, and it's only part of the way, right? There's so much more to be done. To that end, Doug, I'd like to turn to you. I have heard you speak a little bit about California's Prop 50 and overtime protections as life or death issues for caregivers. I wonder what lessons can the rest of the country take from California's example, and what's missing to make those protections real in workers' lives?
A lot has been said about Prop 50, and as it relates to the work that we do, we started this work with a lot of you guys in the room when we were in Washington, D.C. fighting against the big, ugly bill.
Yeah.
So as I told the folks in California, I said, we started this work back in January of 2025. And by lobbying against the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP, we were months ahead of y'all.
That's right.
And so when they proposed Prop 50, we were already ready. And so to win Prop 50 was a lot of work because it was not polling well. But we were on the ground, and we did something that a lot of unions talk to their union members. We did that too, but what we did was we did a lot of community and civic engagement. We engaged in some of our communities We brought pastors together and had pastoral breakfasts. And then we had our members go to churches, and they tabled at churches. They tabled at community groups. They involved community groups to get the messages out. And then some of those members of community groups and churches were UDW members, and they said, we'll do this at our church. So we really engaged the communities in these fights. So it wasn't just us engaging union members. And and what I said to our members, it's not about just Prop 50, winning this and then going back to business as usual. It's about year-round mobilization, even when there's not a political campaign.
Yeah.
It's year-round because we're in a war.
Yeah.
We're in a war for our democracy right now. And it doesn't stop at Prop 50.
Yeah.
We have to continue our activism and continue to build our alliances with our community groups and with our churches, with our synagogues, with our mosque, with everybody, because we're all under attack. It's simple as that.
That's right.
So our members get that. I don't know about other unions. I can't speak for them. I think SEIU gets it. I can't speak for them, although I'm an unofficial spokesperson. I will say that. But I just know that they're grounded in community work.
Yeah.
Because I work with them in a lot of different ways in California. But we're in a battle right now for our democracy, and we can't win these fights alone. As simple as that. So Prop 50, if you saw what happened in other states, a lot of these other states are now not redrawing their maps because it was very significant as to what we did in California. And we have got to really, really look at what's at stake in 2026. I was trying to stay on the nonpartisan side.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake in 2026.
Yes.
Okay. And the way that we win is by organizing community by community and really turning out and doing voter registration, mobilization. When there's not a campaign, but there's community issues that impact our communities, we have to be in alignment. So Prop 50 taught us a lot about that, and not about winning and going back at home and falling asleep. It's about continuous mobilization in communities.
And I imagine, Doug, when we think about the way that care work powers the economy, yet we know most care workers can't afford care themselves. There is an urgency. So that is also why we cannot stop the organizing, the mobilizing, and the work, the important legislative advocacy work and others that you have done, because there's such an urgency to the crisis for workers.
There's an urgency to the crisis, and when you think about policies that are passed, sometimes we pass great policy, but there's no enforcement.
That's right.
We must have enforcement and we must have accountability.
Yeah.
Or policies do us no good. So we have to demand enforcement with these policies.
That's right. It's a big and important lesson, I think, the movement has learned. Elsa, let's turn to you. You are a full-time caregiver for your mother and have been doing in-home caregiving work for years before that. So what do you wish people understood about the work of care?
What I want people to understand is that the care worker is someone that has love. It is someone who cares. Mm-hmm. It's someone who's educated. It doesn't matter just because you have the title home care. People look at you as you don't know anything. Mm-hmm. You don't have an education. You don't know how to do anything. But every day, home care workers have to make choices. They have, like the example I gave you, I had to make a choice to do Heimlich maneuver, change that to a CPR, and then do whatever needed to be done so my mother could breathe. If I did not know those techniques, if I didn't have that education, my mother would not be here today, and I would not be telling you the same story. Mm-hmm. So it's important to know that home care are real people, they're educated, and they need to be titled as a profession. Mm-hmm. They are a profession, because every day we deal with something new. Every day is not the same. And every day you have to bring a smile into that client's face. Bring joy, bring dignity. The doctor's not gonna do that. The nurses are not gonna do partial. The one that's gonna do that and have that client thrive each day to want to live a little longer with dignity is the home care worker.
That's right.
And that's what I want people to understand. We are a professional. We are professional. And I want to be recognized as a professional because as a professional, people look at you as you know what you're talking about. And when I talk about it, I know what I'm talking about.
That's right. Well, all of you are incredible leaders in this movement. And I just want to name, I talked at the top end on the top lines about how the care workforce needs comprehensive policy reform. And I think it's important to understand that many of these leaders up here and many of you in the audience have been a part of fighting for paid family and medical leave, overtime pay, fair wages, and access to affordable health care. These have to be treated as the foundation, not the fringe of our labor policies in this country. And we know that federal and state governments must also fund care systems the same way they fund roads and schools or public transit. That's what we mean when we say we need a real care infrastructure in this country. I am so grateful to all of you for all of the immense leadership that you have brought to the table and the models that you're creating. So we're gonna close out, but I'm gonna ask each of you to share one thing that you either didn't get a chance to say and would like to say, or one thing that's bringing you joy in this moment. I'll let you choose which one you want to answer. So can we start with you, actually, Elsa?
I like to say that, the elderly have built this country. And we're talking about we have the Gen Z, but the elderly is the one that built this country. And today, they are the one that need the help.
Yeah.
And some of them don't have the dignity. They don't live without dignity because we are taking that away from them. And what I would like is for them to live the joy of a happy life and live with dignity. Because that's what thrives them. That's what makes them wake up and smile and move to the next day, is living with dignity. And they are not receiving that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not
Yeah.
at all. And I like to see them dignity in the lives of each elderly that we take care of because they deserve, because they help build this country.
Thank you, Elsa. That's beautiful. Doug or Paloma, one of you want to go? Okay, Paloma, how about you?
Okay, I'll go. Something that it's always in my mind every time we bring out something about family and childcare providers and the fight that we are having now to be recognized is that how come during COVID we were essential workers, but as soon as we were back to normal, we were not essential no more. And that is not fair. It is not, I cannot understand how come we were essential only when someone needed us, but when the families, they need us every single day, we cannot be essential because we cannot, or the government cannot give us that title. A title should not be given by the government. That should be something that it's given by the people, by the parents, by the families that we work for the children. Yeah. And the last thing that I will say is that family childcare providers are educators. We are trained. We have AAs, BAs, some of us master degrees. Or PhD, sorry.
Yeah.
And, we are educated and we want to be recognized for that too.
Wonderful. Doug, you have 14 seconds.
Okay. Real quick. Everyone in this room are activists, and we need to be activists now, 2026 and beyond. And what matters the most is pressure. We must be able to put absolute pressure in order to make change in 2026. Absolute pressure. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room who's learned something new from this discussion. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and for all of your leadership. Thank you.